I'm going through a very Chinese time in my life, but it didn't start now. Let's go back to 2011. I got some freshly made bao from one of my favorite Chinese bakeries, wandering around to observe the people along the sidelines. I was getting interested in Chinese culture because my school didn't teach it. Well, that isn't the only reason. I wanted to be connected. Every country has a level of projected propaganda based on the country's relationship with the other, whether it's positive or negative. The people I've met in my life who had this type of crossroads and this early fork in the road. Let's say there are two paths, one on the left and one on the right. On the left, I would be assimilating myself into the culture I lived in, even though I'm completely different. Unfortunately, sometimes by assimilating, I'd feel like I'd be discarding my own culture in the process to fit in. And on the right path, I can embrace my own culture, but be an outcast. I started learning everything I could about China. I tried being part of something I was born to. I understand that I can be completely wrong, yet try to validate the information. Not only with documents, not only with people who share a similar lineage, it's allowed me to think more logically, yet emotionally sound, with inferred understanding. Everything is naturally sound in this respective logic. It's made me appreciate China for who they are. It's made me understand myself that much more. So let me ask you this. Which path would you have taken? Left or right? I never would have realized how much Kung Fu would have affected my life. Kung Fu is painful, but with pain, there is a brotherhood. Going to my first Kung Fu class, I was invited by my cousins, not knowing exactly what I was getting myself into. When I walked down the stairs, the lights were turned off, and I thought I missed class or something. But I looked over inside the studio. There were a bunch of students sitting down, facing towards the lit area, enveloping a holy Buddha statue. Within the movie Weapons, down in the basement, serves an opposite yet similar side. Yet it felt pleasantly tranquil in this dichotomy of an example. The children eerily stood in cohesion, while the students were sitting in diffusion. There were 3 Buddha statues facing towards us. I could spot the assortment of weapons, ancient ones. My Seifu forced me to do animal-like exercises while being forced to stretch, holding onto my bow and arrow stance until my legs were shaking uncontrollably, attempting to jump into the next Pubu stance while he swung a broadsword at my head, toughening out my horse stance while the rest of the students punched me in the gut, wetting a bamboo stick and then lashing it out on my leg where it wrapped around and left an imprint, practicing forms endlessly even when our bodies are screaming for dear life just to give up right now. Some forms really made me in tune with every part of my body. My Shaolin brothers and I would play ping pong with nunchucks like Bruce Lee in that one video, or at least attempt it. From tournaments to performances, it was also fun. It was a long experience, seeing people come and go. What I gained was not just a great physique, but a brotherhood, somewhere I felt like I belonged to. It felt comforting. When I attended university, I specifically chose the most diverse university in the United States, a school of over 188 ethnicities. If you're unaware of New York City universities, they're incredibly affordable for New York City residents, meaning I'll graduate without any debt. The main reason, however, was the ethnic diversity, transitioning from an area with incredibly far-right conservative values to an area filled with all of these different cultures, not just Chinese. Although, at the time of being there, I have met a lot of other Chinese Americans, but also mainland Chinese, Hong Kongers, Taiwanese, and ethnic Chinese from other regions in the world as well. I learned and listened to understand my roots a bit more, but the people who grew up in it. I also interacted with people I never thought I'd meet. Palestinians and Jamaicans, Guyanese and North Koreans, Japanese and French, and so many other ethnicities. Learning about their culture and their mentality, their priorities came from the necessity of trying to make it in life. Something I respected wholeheartedly. I took Chinese in university, and I finally learned how to speak Chinese. As I continued to practice speaking, writing, and reading on and off throughout the years, I not only learned about Chinese culture, but so many other cultures that I couldn't even count. Halal became my staple diet when I was bulking for the gains. Korean culture became almost close to home as some of my closest friends were Korean. All I cooked at home was Japanese food, refining it and asking Japanese international students to taste test the accuracy of my dishes. It's the culmination of all of these experiences that provided me with an unforgettable and life-altering experience that made me change completely as a person. I not only found myself, but I had genuine friends that didn't insult my race. I didn't feel alone for the first time. When I really needed some money, being a Kung Fu teacher was always my backup. I didn't feel out of place anymore. The cultural aspects like the food, eating dry mala changuo with an absurd amount of spices to the point where I can't even feel my mouth anymore. Buying $1.50 to $2 Xinjiang lamb skewers at the cart. And of course with extra spice. A bag of prawn chips and a nice Arizona to wash it all down. Regarding the cultural traditions, understanding to pour tea if I was the youngest at the table, and tapping onto the table to stop pouring. Learning the Cantonese jargon while playing the Hong Kong Santan He. Believe it or not, I've gotten closer to getting concealed Dai Say Hey. Regarding to the music, listening to Zhou Jielun's best ballads, I even have Punang Shou the Mimi as my ringtone for the past 15 years. Regarding to the history, coming from an American-based understanding of the mysterious 5,000 year civilization in the Far East, tales of a perilous journey of 10 groups of messengers to reach the town capital and deliver a message. Everything is multifaceted in this jagged, misunderstood world we live in. Regarding the people, teaching Kung Fu with a 13-year background to women of all ages. If she feels safe, then I'm glad. At the end of the day, it's that filter being whole for the first time. Having that cement patch for that pothole. It has destroyed my car in this endless cycle of this insane insecurity for myself. I can now feel comfortable driving on the road. If you're anything like me in the context of being a foreigner in a land you entered in or you were born into, tell me, did you ever fill that pothole of yours so your car can run smoothly? If you stayed this long, thank you. Have a nice day.